today's class, you may need a towel or a small blanket for support, so make sure you grab one of those, and then we'll get started lying on our back. I recommend to have this folded towards the bottom of your mat. You might need it to cushion your foot that's not moving. So come to lying on your back, nice and easily. And extend both legs long if that feels okay for you. Coming into Savasana pose. You can rest one palm on your belly, one palm on your chest. Just take a few grounding breaths here. Noticing what it feels like to have your heels, backs of your calves, backs of your thighs and your glute muscles resting into the surface beneath you. Notice what parts of your spine, from your low back all the way to the back of your neck, are touching the mat and making connections. Also notice what parts of your spine naturally lift away from the floor and don't touch. Becoming aware of the backs of the shoulders and the back of your head. It's resting gently. It's feeling fully connected to our practice space, our mat. And we'll add in some movement starting on the left side. Go ahead and hug your left knee into your chest. And just pause here for a moment, noticing what that feels like on the outside of the left hip, in front of the left thigh. Perhaps you might feel some sensation in that hip crease, depending on how tight or fluid and malleable your hips are this morning. You can add in some gentle movement with your hands on your shin, or if it feels better, to just let that knee flow freely. Organic movement, maybe it's some circles, maybe you let the knee fall left and right, side to side, anything that feels good for your hip. And with the support of your hands, if you'd like them, you can also do this movement without your hands. I feel better here, so it's where you prefer to put your hands. But this is all about the feet right now. And particularly the left foot starts to roll out that left ankle. Taking the ankle in circles, clockwise and counterclockwise. Notice what it feels like. Is there any resistance? Letting the ankle roll towards the left. Is there any resistance when you sweep that ankle back and make some circles towards the right? Is it easier for you to move that ankle joint one direction versus the other? Take a few rounds of pointing and flexing the toes. Notice how that movement feels, the stretch in the top of the foot. As you flex and extend at the ankle joint, how does that movement feel different at the back of your ankle, where your Achilles tendon is? What's going on there? And adding on to this movement, you can scrunch your toes and spread them wide. making little fist balls with your feet. And then spreading them wide, creating lots of space between your toes. So really feeling the ball of the foot expand as you spread your toes in opposite directions away from each other. And notice how that movement might be constricted when you try to squeeze, and give it a little squeeze, create some tension there. And then notice how the tension feels when you release on the exhale, spreading the toes wide. Start to take any combination of those movements. So ankle circles, pointing and flexing the toes, scrunching them into a fist and then spreading them wide. Any combination of those movements that feel right for you and your left ankle and foot. And then find some stillness in your left foot. Release your shin if you're holding on. Let the knee fall out to the side, any amount. And in fact, use your palm as a resting point. Elbow will be a kickstand. So your knee doesn't open up too wide and you don't stretch too deep on the inside of your left thigh. Just rest that there. Press your palm into your knee, press your knee into a palm, create a little bit of resistance. When you create that resistance, do you feel your hip muscle fire up? That counter movement, creating some heat in your hip. Very gentle movements. And draw that knee back into center, take it into some nice juicy hip circles, circling out the knee, tracing circles on the ceiling. And then extend the left leg long and pause here for a breath. One palm on the belly, one palm on the chest. How does this feel? Is there any difference in what you feel in your left versus your right side? Does the left leg feel more activated and energized? Is your right leg feeling more relaxed and listless? There's no right or wrong. Just using these moments to examine the nuances, the subtleties, what's happening in your muscles, in your joints, your nerves. When you're ready, create a bend in the right knee to hug that in towards your chest. Gentle, gentle as we started on the left side. Just notice what it feels like to have your palms wrapped around your shin and hugging your right knee into your chest. You feel stretch on the outside of your right hip. Maybe you feel some sensation in the front of the right thigh where your right hip crease is. Try to tune into what you're feeling throughout these practices, throughout this series. When you're ready, gently release the right knee, easefully. Just take some circles, starting to wake up that right hip a little bit. They don't have to be big circles. They can be mini micro circles. Maybe you like to take big sweeping circles if that feels better for that hip. Hips are feeling especially stiff, whatever time of day you're practicing. But this movement can also be subtle, very minimal. It does not have to be huge. Grabbing onto your right shin again, or not. Again, it's all about the foot, so you don't have to. And if you choose to hold on to your right shin, what you're doing is you're creating a deeper stretch in your right hip. So if you want this all to be about your foot, just circle out your ankle. Clockwise and counterclockwise. If you want to add the hip stretch, which I do, so I'm going to grab onto my shin. And again, really zero in. How does the right ankle feel? Circling towards the right. And circling towards the left. Is one direction easier than the other? You feel a bit more mobility moving in one direction versus the other. And take a few rounds of pointing and flexing the right toes. Whenever you're ready, start to squeeze your right toes into a fist, foot fist. And then spread your toes really wide, creating some space. Alternating between your foot fist and toes spread wide. And then take any combination of those movements that feel right for you. So maybe those ankle circles felt really good. Maybe you really liked pointing and the flexing of the toes, the ankle joint. Perhaps the fist ball felt really good, alternating, scrunching the toes and spreading them wide. Any combination of those movements. Really intuitively feel into what you need throughout this entire series. There's always space for you to alter these movements so they're right for your body and what you're dealing with on any given day. Because our bodies feel differently every single day. That we are so blessed to wake up in them. And just bringing some stillness back to the foot, creating that kickstand with your right elbow, opening the right knee out to the side and rest your knee into your palm. And again, just like on the left, press your knee into your palm and press your palm back into your knee. Create a little resistance, firing up that hip joint on the right side. And then release. Taking that knee in circles, clockwise, counterclockwise. Big or as little as you'd like the circles to be. And when you're ready, extend. Right leg long onto the mat. Pause here for a moment. Resting your palms wherever you'd like. My favorite space for grounding is one palm on my belly, one palm on my chest. Full breath in, let it out. And in this space, just notice, how does the right side feel differently than the left? Notice everything from your hip joint thigh, to your knee, your calf, your lower leg, and your ankles and foot. There's that whole leg feel. Release the concentration on the right side as we take our final few breaths in Savasana, our final resting pose of this class. Full inhale. Exhale, let it out. A couple more breaths like that. Nice, big, deep inhale. Exhale, let it out. Last round, biggest inhale. Exhale, release. The end of our practice for today. Thank you.